Okay, Facebook's not cooperating this morning.
It's not. Okay. Well, then we will just get started. Good morning, everyone. This is Cindy Kubica with Energized Living Today. And I am going to be sharing some things that I've been channeling. I was up a good portion of the night channeling and this morning and getting clarity and feeling the voice that's coming through me. I am learning the difference between my voice and the voice that I'm channeling. And the feeling is so different, I can't explain. Well, I can explain it this way. When I go to the World Viewing Center and I calm the water, that's the calm that I feel that allows the truth to come through. And it has been remarkable, out of my comfort zone completely. I want to interject my own feelings a lot, and I am pulled back. It's a gentle yank. And I've received information that I'm really looking forward to sharing. Before I get started on that, I want to talk a little bit about yesterday's call, because somebody had posted something that I said we won't be sharing conspiracy stuff on this call. And I wanted to reiterate that, because the channeling that I've been getting is around that very thing. And one of the videos that we were asked to watch that the information came from, I had another friend, very good, close friend, share that same information with me and said, oh, this is the truth. And it took me 5 minutes to find out, probably less than 5 minutes, that it was put out by QAnon, if anybody's familiar with that. And they've actually been banned. Ferris, isn't that correct, that they've been banned from the internet and now they go by Q?
Well, they haven't been banned from the internet.
Well, they've been shut down somehow. I don't remember the full of the story. That's not my job. That'll be your job to find out. But I remember hearing that they've been banned and for their misinformation, and they're known by Q. And it took me about 5 minutes to go behind the video to see who owned it and who produced it. And anyone that wants to know how to look for those things, we will find that truth and show you how to find it, because it doesn't take long to find out who owns stuff and who's putting it out. They are trying to change things so that people can't find those pathways, but if you know what to do, it's easy to find. So I just want to tell you that, and I am here for one purpose, and that is to find the truth and to only communicate the truth. So before we get started, does anybody have any questions or comments that they want to share with anybody? Or Ferris, do you have anything that you want to share? And first, Ferris, let's start with you, and then we'll start with, then we'll have Andrew.
Okay. QAnon has been removed from Reddit, which is where they started.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
And they're the folks that say that basically that Donald Trump is the chosen one. Please do not quote me quoting them on that. I don't think they use the term chosen one. But for example, he only plays like an idiot. Everything he does is secret code.
Yeah.
For the revolution.
Yeah, and I don't want to get off on a hate thing about a man that is here with a soul contract to do what he is doing so that we can find the truth, and which is interesting. But I'll talk more about that. Actually, I don't want to make this a political thing, because it's not political whatsoever. That's not what this is about. So anyways, Andrew?
Yeah, I put in the chat, and people agree. That should be the topic for one of the next calls is finding the truth and knowing what is true and what is not.
Right. And that's what this call is about.
Oh, I thought we were going to the world viewing room.
We are going to the world viewing room, which is where the truth is.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, the next call, maybe sharing how
let
you
me
find
let me
the
just
truth.
share and you'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just share and you'll get it. I want everyone to go to the world viewing room. Yeah, this is just, I've been getting so much information for so long. And in order to share this truth without judgment, I invite everyone to go with me to the world viewing room. And for those of you who have not been there before, during the time that I was sick, with the coronavirus, that was at the beginning of January, to get out of my body, I decided to astro travel because I was pretty sick. It didn't feel so good in here. So I watched this movie, Doctor Strange, and one of his teachers punched him and he came out of his body and he was astro traveling. And when I saw that, I thought, oh, that's what I need to do to get out of my body. So I started astro traveling. And long story short, I went through a series of visions that I was having, and it landed me in the world viewing room. And the world viewing room is basically a window to the world. And everything is dark, but then I see, as I'm viewing, I see light. And light is earth beings. And I see when their light goes out. So when people are dying, I can see when the light ascends is what I should, their light doesn't go out. It just kind of shoots up and then it disappears. So it doesn't really go out. It just ascends. And in the world viewing room, next to me, to my right, the first time that I went, there was a white cat. And I believe it was my cat Band-Aid, or excuse me, my cat Mango, who passed last year. And each time that I went back to the world viewing room, there were more and more animals. And I would just look out and a series of things happened. And I don't know if I should share all that today, Ferris, or should I continue on? Up to you.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead and share it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll back up a little and share the whole of the story, because I do believe that we have some people here today that haven't heard this before. And if you have, then I'll just explain it again. The day that I watched the movie and decided that I was going to astro travel, I simply asked, take me to where you need to be. And I ended up in a crowd of people. I was being pushed left and right and could feel people pushing into me, and I could hear screams and yelling and see that people were crying, and I was afraid, and I knew that that people were going to die. So I came back, that fear brought me back into my body. And the next day, it shook me for the day because I knew people were going to die. And when I looked up before I left, I could see that I was in Iran. And the next day, I went back to the place, the same exact place. This time, I put a bubble around me to protect me. and I could see the people. They were still pushing into me, but they were hitting up against the bubble. And it didn't move me. I was really solid, which surprised me. I thought it would kind of throw me around, but it didn't. I was solid, but I could clearly see people's faces, and I could hear them saying, "Death to Americans." And I saw tears coming down their face, and I could feel their grief. And I knew, and I could see signs of a general that had been killed. And he was their hero, and they were angry. And again, I could feel death, and that people were going to die. And when the fear came in me, by the way, and my grief for them, because they loved this man, it doesn't matter who he is to us, it mattered who he was to them. And he was their hero. And that was their loss, and I could feel their grief. And when I started feeling it, I was back in my body. And I realized that every time that I allowed the emotion to come in, I would come back into my body. And that actually started when I was 10 years old. And I'll tell that story in a minute. The next day, when I astral traveled, I was walking through a desert. And in the desert, I was walking next to someone, and they had a flashlight, and they were shining it on the ground. It was nighttime. They were shining it on the ground, and I was walking next to them, and we came across a soldier. And there was something big sitting in front of him, but I couldn't see that. I could only see the soldier. And when the flashlight came up and shone in his face, he was filled with fear. And he started scooting backwards on the ground, and you could just see he was horrified, and he was scooting backwards. And I thought who I was with was going to kill them, and that fear took me back in my body. The next day, I asked not to go back to that because there was too much fear building up in me, and I didn't want to go back there. And so I said, take me somewhere else that I need to be, what I need to see. And I ended up with all these other people who were astral traveling, all these souls who had passed, all of these spirits and guides. And I was asked to put my arms out to the side like this, and we all locked arms. And a circle around the earth started happening, a circle all the way around the earth. And we just held there with our arms interlocked together. And we felt love and peace for the world. I felt this healing energy of the earth. And we hugged the earth, and I actually fell asleep. And woke up a few hours later. And, but I was there in that space. It had to have been, I don't know, hour, 2 hours. I don't really know. I lost time, but I woke up a long time later, and I felt better. I felt stronger. And I got up and I did a video. And some of you remember the video, which if you go back and look at it, you know that I look like crap because I was sick, but I felt better. And whenever I felt that peace, I realize now, because I have video evidence of it. And when I go back, when the energy came back in my body, I was able to get up and do videos and film things. And during that time, I did a video, how to make bone broth, how to do elderberry syrup. And I realize now it coincided because I have evidence in everything that I'm going to talk about today. There's an element of evidence that we are being asked to bring in. So I have evidence of everything that I went through at the time. And I got sicker when I was in fear and judgment. I got better when I was in peace and I was able to get up and function. And my diary of this whole thing coincides with the videos that I did. So I continued to astral travel. And the next day is when I ended up in the World Viewing Center or World Viewing Room. And at the time, I didn't know what it was. It was just a big window. And when I looked out across the earth, I saw this explosion of light to my right. And I knew that people had died, that a lot of people had died. At the time, I did not know that it was a plane crash. I didn't learn that a plane had been shot down. I did not learn that until that night when I saw it on the news. And I knew that a lot of people had died. And it scared me. And I came back into my body. And then the next day, I was back in the World Viewing Room. And from there on out, that's where I ended up. And I kept seeing the explosion. And one day I just got angry and said, the president of the United States caused this. And he's, and it's making people angry. And, I heard the story that it had been shot down. And these 176 people died, and they were innocent, and I was angry. And then I ended up back in my body. And then the next day I'd go back and I would start judging. I would see that same flash of light, knowing that 176 people died, but then I was told that 177 people died. And I'm like, no, 176 people died and they didn't have to die. And then the next day I went back and I was told 177 people died. And I said, I heard that was their contract. And I said, what do you mean their contract? That was their choice. They chose to stop a war. And I just couldn't breathe. And I just stood in the World Viewing Room. And that truth washed over me. They chose to stop a war. And so I asked, you were saying 177, but they're reporting 176. And they said the soldier knew immediately what he had done. And his soul died, not in the physical, but inside, because he did not want to kill people. He had a heart. He was just doing his job, but he had a heart, and he knew what he did. And he knew almost immediately. And that's where the soldier came in, because that was the part I didn't understand for a long time. Since then, I've been going to the World Viewing Room pretty regularly. Now I don't have to astral travel there. I can just think about it. And if I am pure of mind, if I am open to love, if I am open to the soul contracts that are in place, understanding that there is a greater purpose for everything that is going on, I get in the room. If I am in judgment, and believe me, there are a lot of days I am in judgment and I am angry about what is going on, I can't get in the room. I'm not allowed in. And there are a lot of days I can't get in. I have been working very hard on not being in judgment so that I can get in, because it is there that I can see the world clearly, that I see the soul contracts, that I hear what I am to pass on to the world. It's been remarkable for me to learn that I was given the coronavirus early so that I didn't have to be afraid, so that I was immune, so that I could volunteer and carry out work that needs to be done. That was the gift to me. So we have done the meditation before to clear the water. And so I invite all of you into the world viewing room. There's room for everyone, even if it doesn't feel like there is. As you step in, you will notice that there are lots of animals there. And it surprised me each time that I went, and I saw more and more animals. One time there was a toucan on my head, there was a crow on my shoulder, there were, it looked like Noah's Ark. I had all these animals, and I asked why. And they said, because they are pure of heart and they don't judge, but they use their instincts. They know what they know. And so as you come in to the room, just feel the love of Mother Earth. Feel the true love of humanity. Focus on the cylinder in the middle of the world viewing room. Right now, it is cloudy again. It is cloudy and filled with muck and dirt and debris. Focus that love that you feel. Focus your love on clearing the water. Take a nice deep breath in as you clear the water, and we will now sit in silence. Just focus on clearing the water. You will see at the bottom of the cylinder that there is still debris. The rest of the water now is clear, and you can see through it. It is beautiful. It is calm, and you feel the love in it. But the debris is still there. And what I am told is that it is always there. And that is judgment and fear and hate and low vibrational emotions. And they're easy to stir up. You are invited every day to clear and calm the waters. It is that clear and calm water that will heal the earth. Take a nice deep breath. And as I read what I've been channeling, you can keep your eyes closed or you can open them. That's up to you. And this is over a series of days. And the first part of this is coming through me, and I will share it in the first person through me. And it changes as it continues. Friday night, we talked about NDEs, near-death experiences, and I shared 2 of them with everyone that I experienced. One by my own hand, and then the other one when I was 21 and given a drug that stopped my heart. But there was another one that I didn't share because I'm never clear if if I had actually died or not. But it did awaken me. I was 10 years old and I was thrown from a horse, a pony actually. But at that time, he was still pretty big. His name was Duke. And my dad had, I was cleaning or brushing him and just laying over his back and brushing his underneath, which I like to do. My sister was out riding, and my dad had told us not to go riding because he was going to be shooting gun. He was deer hunting. And he shot the gun, and Duke was spooked, and he took off running to find Goldie. They were very, very close. And so he went running out into the woods, and I came up to my sister, and they kind of bucked at each other, and Becky jumped off Goldie and said, grab her, grab her. And Duke got scared, turned really fast, and I was flung off and hit a tree. And the last thing I remember is I landed on the electric fence, and I could feel the charge at first going through my body, and then I was gone. I didn't know really what happened after that. And I had a pretty significant head injury, and it blew out this eye and damaged a nerve in this eye, which is sometimes why I have a hard time reading, because it doesn't track well. It doesn't cross properly. And I broke my arm. I had a concussion. I don't remember anything until I woke up briefly as my dad was carrying me towards the house, and I could feel the pain in my left limp arm. And as it kind of jerked up and down, and then I was out again, and I don't remember. I don't remember for a few days really what happened. And I suspect that was also a near-death experience, because that is when I started having visions. It was the first time that I talked to God. And as many of you remember, I've told this story many times. The first thing that God said to me was, I actually went to sleep, and one night, and I heard, do you know you cannot see your own face? And it scared the crap out of me. And I went and slept with my parents that night because it scared me so much. I had never heard a voice before. And the next night I was falling asleep, and again I heard, do you know you cannot see your own face? And so this time I mustered up courage and I said, who is this? This is God. And I said, God, I can't talk to you. I'm Catholic. There's a chain of command. I have to go to Mary. Mary goes to Jesus. Jesus comes to you. and that was my belief system at that time. And God said, no, I am your friend, and you can talk to me always. You mean I don't have to do the sign of the cross? No. I don't have to kneel? No. I'm your friend. Just talk to me. And it was at that time that I realized now, many years later, that I became clairaudient. And I have always heard a voice. And I know that there are teachers out there that say, no, you don't hear a voice. I do hear a voice, and I always have since I was 10 years old. I hear it out loud, and it calls to me. And sometimes it calls my name, and sometimes it says, voices. I hear different names, but it calls out information. During that same time, well, to continue this for anyone who hasn't heard this story, I was continuing my conversation with God, and I said, what do you mean that you can't see your own face? And God said, you can't see your own face, but others can, and they know what's going on inside. He said, I'm asking you to always seek wisdom. And I didn't know what wisdom was. He said, your life is going to be difficult. You will have many challenges, but always seek the wisdom and pass it on. And so I woke up, I fell asleep feeling such peace. I felt so different. I felt less fear. I was different. I was changed. And interestingly, as I go back and I write about these things, I always talk about, my sister Becky, who was, she was the bully in my family, which is why I have a hard time with bullies. I did not realize that's when she stopped bullying me. There was some bullying, but the bullying stopped, and it took on a different shape. And I didn't realize it was after that it stopped. It just never occurred to me. But as I woke up the next morning and I walked into the living room, my grandpa Kubica was visiting from Chesnang. I lived in Michigan at the time. And he was visiting from California, and he was Czech, and he had a very strong Czech accent, and he was such a wise man, and I'm so grateful to have known him and for him to be part of this journey that I'm on. And I said, Grandpa, what does wisdom mean? And he said, oh, little Cindy, always seek out of wisdom. And when you find out of wisdom, you don't have to ask. And he just kind of, he shook. He had been sprayed with mustard gas and caused nerve damage. So his head always shook like this. And so when he spoke those words, I just remember him saying, oh, little Cindy, always seek out of wisdom. And that is as clear today as it was the day that he spoke those words. And he turned around and started walking away, and he turned back to me, and I watched him as his head shook, and he said, little Cindy, someday you make Kubica name famous. And he just kind of shook his head like this and continued to walk away. That's the reason that I kept my maiden name. I was married before and I changed my name, but then after my divorce, I went back to Kubica and I said, Grandpa Kubica said I'd make the name famous, so I'm gonna keep that name. So that's why I never changed it. After that, I started having visions, and I saw a war. And now I'm reading what I've been writing. I saw a war with thousands and thousands of people laying on the ground, and some of them were on cots, and they were dying. In the vision, I was a volunteer, and I was handing out green blankets. And somehow I knew that I was safe.
Oh, I want you to see it.
Oddly, at 10, with the war, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid until my cousin Monica told me that I was describing the apocalypse. The fear only came when someone else told me that I should fear it. Then the fear set in and the vision stopped. I realize the same thing happened then that happens now when I come to this room, the world viewing room. When I feel the fear, when I feel the judgment, when I feel the low vibrational emotions, the visions stop. It was true then, it is true now. Last year, the visions started coming back stronger. And the downloads have always been strong, but they have been unbelievable in the last year. And I started sensing death. And I told my husband, and I kept telling Gary, I feel death coming. I feel death coming, and thousands of people are going to die. Thousands of people are going to choose to die. The conscious and the unconscious, the unenlightened and the enlightened are going to die. I always thought that this vision was going to be a war. From the time that Donald Trump was elected, and some of you may remember this story as well. And by the way, up until that point, I never watched the news. I never had anything, I wanted to live in light, and I didn't want that in me, that negativity. So I didn't watch the news. And the day of the election, about 4 a.m, I heard Donald Trump is going to win the election. And I heard it out loud, and I sprung up in bed, and I just said, holy shit, what? No. And I just what? And I called Ferris, and I knew he'd be up because he's an all-nighter kind of guy, and he actually answered the phone. And I said, Ferris, Donald Trump is going to win the election. And he said, no. And I said, Ferris, I just heard it. And he went, fuck. And that's what he says when he knows the voice of truth. Because when I hear it, it is always accurate. It always has been, and it will always be. I didn't know him. I didn't know him other than The Apprentice, which I used to like. I knew that he was in the entertainment world. He was the master of getting publicity. He was really good at creating publicity and playing his own agent, where he'd call and he'd pretend that he was an agent to get publicity. And he was just really good. He liked to get his name out in front. And he was famous because a lot of speakers, I'm a professional speaker, and I come from entertainment. So he was known for being able to do that. And people actually taught that skill. So that's all I knew him as. And then I saw him on the news a few times, and my dad wanted me to watch it. And he was sending out hate and discord, and I didn't want that. So I didn't watch that. So that's the reason that I didn't want him to win. And I don't remember. I'd have to go back because I journal about everything. And it was months later. Shortly after that, I was told to watch the news. And I'm like, I don't want to watch the news. I don't want that in me. And I was asked to watch the news. And all I saw was this hate and anger and this stuff where I'd hear one thing from the newly elected president one day and it would be different the next day. And I'm like, this is confusing my soul. And I don't want to hear this. And there was all this stuff and just this hate and discord coming up. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this. I can't sleep at night. And then all this other stuff started happening. And Ferris and I had to actually stop doing Energized Living Today. We had to stop because I couldn't handle all of that, handle my dad dying and all that was going there, some of my own health issues. And I was told that I had to heal, that I had to go on this journey. And then one morning, and again, I don't remember the timeline. I was awakened again with the beauty of Donald Trump. Write it. And I sat up in bed and said, what? What is this? And I was told to write the book. And I said, I don't know anything about politics other than what I've been seeing on the news. And I said, continue to watch the news. They said, continue to watch the news. And I said, why? Why am I to watch the news? So you know what others are feeling. Write it. And so for several days, I would sit in front of the computer and go, I don't know how to write this. I don't know what this is about. I don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything. I don't want to write something like this. I write about stress management and soul contracts and universal truths. And I don't know anything about this. So it was a few days later, and I'm arguing with the channel, with the spirit. And I said, you're going to have to tell me clearly. You're going to have to tell me clearly because I don't know anything about this. And I'm angry at this point. And I get in the shower, and I just got in the shower and I hear the voice. And it said, Donald Trump so loved the world that he was willing to come here to be a total asshole. And I started laughing out loud because I immediately knew the truth. The book wasn't about him. It was about his soul contract with the world. And I knew how to write the book because that's something I write about. It's not about politics. It's about his contract with us, with the people. And so I started writing the book, and I've got it, it's about, I don't know, about 100 pages. And then things would happen and I would get angry and I would stop for a while. And then I realized that the book, I couldn't write it as it was because things kept changing. And now the whole story of the World Viewing Room and where we are now is part of that. And I realized that the book isn't finished because I'm not finished getting the messages that I was supposed to have before I finished writing it. And so it was too early. When the visions started happening last year, again, I knew it was part somehow of this journey. And I thought that when I saw all the thousands of people dying, I truly thought that there was going to be a war, because I had been following the news. I've been reading, when I would watch videos, I would get, people were threatening each other, and I would see the militia saying that we're going to come after you. We're going to kill you. We know where you are, and all this stuff. And it was really scary stuff that I would read from people, and then people pretending that they knew the truth. And that's when I realized that a lot of these videos that were very well produced that I was watching came from QAnon. And Ferris and I started doing our research to find out where these things, and they seemed like they were truth, and they seemed like they were from enlightened people. And it was shocking to me to see all these things. And I thought all of this is going to create a war, and people are going to start killing each other. And that's really what I thought. But I was thinking all of these things from up here. It wasn't coming from here. And when it comes from here, when I channel, that's when the truth comes through. And then at the beginning of the year, I started getting more information, and it started in the World Viewing Room. And I now understand that the viral energy became physical. Viral became a virus. The low vibrational hostile energy is ravaging the 3D plane. Yes, we want to be in that fifth dimensional energy, but we are in a 3D world, and we are charged with these physical bodies. I am being asked to help people understand the connection between heaven and earth, the third and the fifth. This last year, I started doing human design, learning a little bit about it, because it's very curious if anybody's ever done anything with human design. And here's the book, and I began studying it earlier this year. And it is very interesting. When I did my human design, I am a rare juxtaposition, which is, your gate is either left or right. And there are some of us that are it's called a juxtaposition. And I don't fully understand it, by the way, but I'll do my best in helping you understand. People that are juxtaposition connect heaven and earth. And my mouth dropped open when my teacher told me that, because that is who I've been told I am. And it's further evidence. It's further evidence. And here is what I'm being told now. You asked me for a savior, and you chose the devil. You asked me for light, and you chose the dark. So I gave you a savior of the same energy you are choosing. And this energy will demand respect. If there was no sickness, there would be no healers. If there was no sickness, if there was no tragedy, there would be no miracles. People will choose to leave through their arrogance, through their ignorance, through their enlightenment, through their awakened state, by their choice, because they are no longer in need of their physical body. When you start a sentence with, "I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but," you choose to spread this man-made virus. Do you not respect the wind, the rain, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, the earthquake? Respect the virus, for it has much to teach you. Last night, I was writing the email for today's call. And in the middle of writing it, I went back and I went back to spell check, and in the middle of it were the words, "The gateway is opening and you are the gate." And a chill went through me. And I called Ferris and I said, "I don't know where this came from. And something is happening." And I was meditating on that, and then a friend called, and like I said, she started telling me to go watch this video and that video, and I immediately, it made me angry because I had already seen those videos. And so I went behind it and looked at the information, where it was coming from, and found out that it was from QAnon. And I went to the world viewing room so that I could clear the water and calm the water. And this morning, I woke up hearing the channel, and this time the voice changed. The gateway is opening, and you are the gate. The left gate is the fair one and must seek the facts. Follow the silence. I am the truth and the light, but the world no longer believes in the truth. Others will only believe if there are proof. If there is proof. You, fair one, open to the path of the facts. Beware, speak from the heart, not the head, or you too will become the virus. The time of the enchanted gate has come. You know the gate. You created it. Meditate on it. It creates peace within. It creates peace to all who see it. You fair one, hang it near you. It serves as your reminder that you are the left gate, the gate to the path of facts and truth. Speak always from the place the gate touches. The right gate is the fair-haired one. You are the channel. You are the watcher of the world. Beware to also speak the truth. When I speak through you, you will feel my peace. When you speak from your head, you will feel heavy. You are not speaking through me. Beware of speaking your own truth. Speak my truth. The gate of truth is opening, and you are all welcomed in. Open both gates in tandem. Know my voice. Feel my truth. Clear your physical path, left gate and right gate, so you can fully open, so that others can walk through and know my truth. To the people, I am the truth. I am the light. But you no longer believe. You say you are the seekers of the truth. So why do you not seek the truth? More than one gate will open. Some will be the gates of truth, others of deception. Know my peace. Cross through the gate of truth, the path of truth. The fair one, trust him. You already love him. You know his humor. You know his love. The fair-haired one trusts her infinite knowing. I will speak through her. I will speak through others. Choose your channels, but choose the light of the I am. Choose the truth. Ferris began channeling some information that he sent me. And he said, I don't know what to do with this. What do I do with this? And the other day I started getting that we were to start a blog, or actually Susie said, you're supposed to start a blog. It was Susie Wright. And she's also a channel, a medium. And she said, we're supposed to put this information up there. And Ferris is getting information and I'm getting information. And when I saw this information that I channeled, I truthfully didn't want to share it because there's so much controversy out there. I didn't want the criticism. And now I know I don't have a choice. So here I am. Here we are. And Ferris and I are supposed to do this together. I understand that Ferris is the left gate because he loves gathering the facts. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. He's, we've said before, you send him one of those and no one knows why emails, that used to go around about the duck's quack does not echo and no one knows why. Well, he's the one that would check all the facts, write it down and send it back to you. So he has always been one who could find the facts. And I am the right gate. And Ferris, we are being asked here now in this world viewing room if we accept this assignment. Do we accept this assignment? So Ferris.
I'm not getting a duck.
Do you accept this, the assignment?
I guess.
Where's the picture of the gate?
Keep talking, I'll find it.
Okay. I had, when I first saw because when it's coming, I don't know what's there. I mean, it's coming, folks, and I'm writing as fast as I can, or I'm recording some of this because it comes so fast. And once it comes through me, if I don't capture it, I don't remember it because it's not me. And it's just coming through me. And Patricia says, so many people are getting messages. I am hearing and seeing things new to me. So happy you are sharing. This information is very needed though. It leaves me shaking though, because this is not ever something I expected to experience. Devana, several times, goosebumps or God bumps. James, Cindy, thanks for your courage. This is a big deal. This is a big help for me. Bernadette, beautiful. Thank you for sharing from your soul. Dina, it is not being worthy or deserving. It is how much you can let go of judgment and be love. And that is why I was sent to the world viewing room when I was sick, so that I could let go of the judgment. Because y'all, I became as judgmental as everybody else. We've, there are friends on this call that we've had these conversations. And we now know that there's only one way to the truth. And that is if we walk through that gate of love and truth. I now understand that 27 years ago, when I met, or 29 years ago, I guess it's been now, Ferris. Let me see, it's been a long time.
92.
92, yeah, 92. I met Ferris. Briefly, we were introduced, and they told me it was at Barbizon Modeling School, and I had a patent pending on some work, and I was given a cease and desist, and so my business was I was out of business overnight. So I went back to the modeling school that I used to be the director of education at, and I asked if I could just come back and teach modeling again. And modeling and pageantry, I come from that world. And I met Ferris, and we were briefly introduced, and I left, and he left at the same time, and he walked to one side of the hallway, and I walked in another, and I just stopped, and I turned around, and he stopped at the very same time. As if we were gates opening up to each other. And I said, "You're going to be very important to me in my life." And he said, "Good to see you again." And my world changed, because it opened up my knowing. He was already on that path, and I was still fighting the Catholic religion belief system. And now I understand, Ferris, our soul's mission. And to say that this doesn't scare me would be a lie. But that's, coming from up here, not here. When I come through the heart, there's no fear. And that's why I need the world viewing room, so I can calm the water and clear the judgment and view the world from the heart and understand that everything that is going on is a divine soul contract. My question to the channels, or to whoever I'm channeling, and I'm not clear on that yet. I keep saying, is this God? Who is this? I'm an activist, as many of you know. I will speak out. I'm a fighter. I'm a scrapper. I am known, if I see an injustice, to get in the middle of the fight. I have literally gotten in the middle of fist fights before. My husband's had to pull me back when I've seen abuse, especially abuse of women. And so how do I continue to be an activist, to fight for what's right on this earth plane, and not be engulfed in anger and judgment? And can I still do that? And the answer is yes. But always start in the world viewing room. Calm the waters. It is okay to stand up for what you know is right, and to speak out for what is right. Do it from the heart. So I invite you all to take a nice deep breath. And just feel the calm and the peace of this beautiful world viewing room. Observe from here the world through the heart of knowing. Through non-judgment, but through love. Each of you are asked to contribute, to be part of the spreading of the light, of the truth. And when it seeps in, that judgment, that fear, come here. And watch objectively through love. And now we can come back here. And I want to talk for a moment about this. Can everybody see this picture back here? Let me move this out of the way. This is the angel. What is it called? The angel of, let me look it up so I get the name exactly right. Oh, guardian of the earth rainbow. And this angel watches out over the world. Eva Sullivan is the one that painted this. And when I met her at the Galactic conference that they have. It's a metaphysical what do you call it, Ferris? It's a
gathering conference.
yeah, it's a conference that they have here. Okay, so people say they can only see it. I'm going to move my camera so you can see it. Do you see this up here?
Yeah.
Okay. And I have a smaller one of it. What did I just do with it? Oh, here it is.
By the way,
Okay, I'll see if I can do this.
I found a small version of the gate.
Okay. All right. Hold on just a second, Ferris. I want you to show the gate. But anyways, I met Eva there, the artist that does this. And she came up to me and she said, "This is you. This is the painting you need." Because I was looking through them and I saw all kinds of other ones. And she said, "No, this is you." And I thought it was because, you know, we had this online venue, but I didn't know I was going to be channeling. And she knew, because she also, all of this is channeled. All of these pictures that she does. How can we get one? Bernadette says, and I'll, do you remember your URL?
Let's put a link in Facebook.
Okay. All right. We'll put a link in Facebook. And by the way, I'll go down in just a second and get the new one that just arrived. And Ferris, why don't you go ahead and show them the gate? And I'll run down and get that.
Okay. Well, let's find the gate. There we go. Is that sharing? Okay. I couldn't tell for sure. This is this is the gate through, or used to be, the gate from the backyard of the house that I grew up in to the first field behind the house. And I think you can see the cursor here. Right behind the fence there where the gate is, used to be the outhouse. And I got the I got the honor of tearing the outhouse down when we got indoor plumbing. But that was kind of, that gate was iconic for me. And it's one of my favorite photographs. Anyway, that's the gate.
And Ferris?
Yes.
You're supposed to hang that where you can see it.
So I got to move it from the other room.
Yep, you got it. You're supposed to see it, and remember that when you are researching this information, to not stay in your head but come through the heart.
Hmm.
And by the way, y'all, this is the one that I just got from her. I just ordered this one. Does anybody know who this is?
It's me.
And
No,
I would like to know if anybody knows.
No.
Looks like Saint Germain to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good, Gail. Yep. The violet flame. Is that beautiful? And I was told to meditate on the violet flame. So I decided to go ahead and get this. And I was told I was going to get it later because, you know, I'm in total transparency. You know, Ferris and I are just, we're paying for this ourselves, and we're not making money right now either, like many people are. And yet I felt very strongly now is the time to order this. And so when I called Eva, and asked her, she said, every one of my shows have been canceled. I don't have an income. And that's why I was being told. See, it's the little things like that when you get those hits that you're supposed to do this and do it now, and then you find a fact to back it up. That's the world that we've become. And so that's how I'm showing. There's always a trail. There's always proof of what I am saying. And so I find it really interesting because that's just who we've become. And by the way, there are other, she's got lots of prints. She's got the archangels. This is, of course, Gabriel. And I know it's a little shiny, I'm sorry, but I'll try my best to hold it up there. This is one that I wanted for myself. I channel Raphael a lot. Healing angel, and I want to heal my heart completely.
Yeah, me too.
One of the side effects of the coronavirus, or one of the things that happened, and I found out also kidney failure is another one, but the myocarditis, which is inflammation in the heart, which I have. And so I'm learning how to heal that, and I'm calling on Archangel Raphael to help me completely heal my heart, but in more ways than one. And this is Ariel. She is nature. Michael and his big sword. And this is Uriel, creativity. So she has a lot of beautiful ones. And this is a brand new one that I actually got from my granddaughter because her whole room is decorated in unicorns. And this was a brand new one. Is this cool? And this is Fairy of the Light. So I ordered some smaller versions of them. So we will put the information in there. I want to go ahead and
Cindy?
And Dina wants to know what Eva's last name is, and I would say it, but
Sullivan.
Thank you. It just totally went out of my brain.
Yeah, Eva Sullivan, and it's Dolphins. Oh, I can't think of the name. I just texted her directly, so I forgot the website. Ferris, you can probably go ahead and put it in there. Just put in Eva Sullivan artist, and it'll come up.
Cindy, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Patricia.
Hi. I remember when you did the show with her, and she was in her studio.
Yes.
And it was so beautiful, and she was talking about how she swam with dolphins.
Yes.
How that drew her to start painting all of these things. And the other day, just like a couple days ago, I thought, God, it was weird. I was thinking, I remember these paintings, and I really wish I had bought one of those. And I thought, how am I going to find that? I'm going to have to go through the emails. And I remembered your call today, and I thought, maybe I'll text them and ask them if they remember the artist's name. It's so amazing. I can finally get one.
See, that's proof. There's proof.
Yes.
Patricia, there's proof that what I'm getting is accurate, that I'm not the only one getting this information. You just confirmed.
And I think in the Germain, was that Mount Shasta in the background, I think?
Is it?
I thought it was. I wasn't sure.
Okay.
But that was the one I was drawn to as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was one other. I'm going to go to her website and find it. I can't remember the name, but I was so drawn to it.
It's something dolphins or
stardolphin.com.
What is that?
Stardolphin.com.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing, though. Yes.
Yes. And that's it. And again, I keep getting told I won't be the only one confirming this information. Other people will be doing the same because in today's, it's so interesting. There's so much disinformation out there, and yet people are demanding the truth, but not wanting the truth. It's confusing to my brain. Does anybody else make you just?
Well, what we want the truth that verifies what we believe, whether it's the truth or not. Lately YouTube has gone absolutely crazy with commercials before you see a video. But one of them that I really like is the masterclass commercials. Oh my God, what's his name? Tyson, the astrophysicist. I cannot think of his first name to save my life. Anyway, he's got one. And one of the things that he talks about is learning to think critically. And he says there's three kinds of truth. There's the personal truth, there's the political truth, and then there's the objective truth. And the objective truth is the one that is backed by facts. And that's the one that's really sometimes the hardest for us to swallow.
And that's why you're asked, Ferris, to be the left gate.
Anyway.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah, it is.
And Mary says your information, this is Mary Ann Joy, your information
Neil deGrasse Tyson
feels right to me.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
What was that?
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Alice just sent it to me.
Oh, okay. What I have been aligning with for a while, need to really step into non-judgment and love. And me too. Hey, I'm just being real with everybody here. I find the judgment too, because I get upset. And let me see, there was one here. Mary was saying, Mary Basse said that she uses the violet light every day. And if you're in BJ's class, she talks a lot about that. So that's why I wanted here to meditate on. So I'm going to see if I can fit it over here somewhere so it can be in our background.
And Andrew's got something too.
Yes, Andrew?
Where are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Wow, it was very powerful. I actually thought about getting off and going back into meditation. But I wanted to offer a suggestion, if you don't mind, because this is my friend Marilyn. This is what she did last week. Someone asked her out of the blue, and she wasn't expecting it. Do you guys have a PayPal link? So if people actually wanted to donate money to help support with this running of these check-ins, that they can do that if they want to. I mean, I know you do it for free. It's free, but sometimes we like there's someone that might want to give back to you guys. It's just a thought, for just a thought that might help. I don't know how other people feel about it.
Mary, you want to unmute yourself and tell Andrew and everyone what you said to me the other day?
It's perfect that you would do this right now, because I talked to Cindy just yesterday or the day before, I can't remember which, and I said, I'm going to find out if there's anyone who would like to join me in contributing something, no matter how big or how small, towards this, what you're doing, giving us every single day. And I said, I think I'll check with Andrew and see if he's got the list of people. And now you're bringing it up. And so I thought, you can do whatever you want. And if you don't want to do anything, that's fine too. We just know I want to, and I'm going to, and I just need to know, where do I send my money?
Ferris, you'll have to figure that out, and I thank you. And the reason I wanted both of you on here is because, again, I keep being told there will always be confirmation. There will always be proof, because that's what people want. And so you and I just talked, and then he came on, and I haven't talked to him about this. And have you?
No, we didn't.
No.
That's fine. When he started talking, the hair stood up this long on my arm, and I went, do, 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 do.
We are witnessing miracles, folks. We are in front of us. We are witnessing miracles, and we are witnessing the divine. And as I said, there will always be confirmation. There will always be somebody there that will confirm, just like what just happened. And if you want to do that, we will set that up because, you know, it will at least help pay for the expenses. And I thank you. I thank you.
I can't thank you for all that you're giving us every single day. And each of us being able to gather and see each other. And it's like it's my favorite thing of the day. And
Thank you.
I just, the little gift of gratitude for what I'm receiving. And I really believe that as you receive, you give, and vice versa. And I see what it does in my life over and over and over again. So that's how I feel.
Thank you.
I'll call you, Ferris, afterwards and ask you and with some ideas but yeah, I just, you know, it was just the thought, because when you were like, as you were talking just before, I was just like, you know, my friend Marilyn did this and a lot of people donated to her. She wasn't expecting it. And then I have my second thing is, you know, I think it's important to sharing information, because no matter what, there's going to be people that are going to be naysayers. And you know what, as long as you're speaking your truth, and if people can't accept that, it's their thing, it's not yours. You want to share your information of what you are getting, and don't be afraid to share it, because you know what, as Jack Nicholson says in A Few Good Men, you can't handle the truth.
As far as PayPal goes, PayPal at Energized Living Today.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what I was going to talk to, see if you had, because usually they have a special, they give you a special link that you can just have for people. So if you just
Well, let me finish.
Yeah. Sorry.
The nice thing about PayPal is you can do any amount that you want to do. It doesn't have to be set up to do multiple payments, and there's no charge for doing it as long as you're sending money to friends and family.
Right.
Someone, I've already lost my place here, but somebody said something about GoFundMe. GoFundMe may not be appropriate here. We've used GoFundMe once before, but I don't think it would work here. Something like Patreon might. I don't know a lot about Patreon, but
I don't know Venmo. I don't know if that's right.
Venmo is strictly just for sending money to people.
Yeah, I've used most of them, but PayPal is the easiest to use.
PayPal is the easiest. You do have to have a PayPal.
You already have it, so perfect.
They said set up a button somewhere, and so we'll post that. And I thank you. And you know that's hard for me, by the way. And I'm being asked to receive,
yeah.
So we can keep going. And it's hard for both Ferris and I, because we're givers. We like to give, and half of you on this call or more are the same way, where you prefer to give than to receive, and we're being asked to receive. That's hard. That is really.
Receiving is the other side of giving.
Yeah.
You have to be a gracious receiver to be a good giver.
Yeah. Well said, Gail. So I thank you all for being here. I won't hold you up anymore.
Let me clarify one thing, okay, real quick, about the QAnon and Q. That did not start on Reddit. It started on 4chan. How it started, QAnon may have been an online troll or a group of online trolls, and then somebody took it to be gospel. And QAnon got a bad name, so it kind of became Q instead of QAnon, and it took on a life of its own. And it's not just about Trump. It's about that. That's where the Pizzagate came from. It goes all the way back to the Kennedys. Anything political, they could turn into a conspiracy, they did.
Yeah. So, and somebody asked about Bill Gates, and I've been doing a lot of research on that because I didn't know. And it's really unfortunate in today's world. And this was another thing that I heard last night when I was sleeping. If Christ came back today, they would discredit him.
Probably.
Because
They did before.
people that are
Well, first of
stepping
all,
up
yeah,
and
because
trying
he's
to
a
do
Jew.
some good for the world, while, you know, there's lots of levels of things that are people that are doing. All these conspiracies are being built around them, and they're not able to do what they came here to do because the conspiracies around them. So I'm doing more work on it, understanding Bill Gates, because I get asked that a lot, and I'm specifically asking for some channeled information there. That's the only thing that I got while I was sleeping. I heard it. And
When you say
So-
Bill Gates, I saw that question. Were you talking about his warning about viruses?
yeah, and him trying to help come up with an antidote. And what I found was a story about him, and when I think it was his wife got malaria, and so he thought, you know, we're just a step away from. It wasn't malaria; it was one of the other flus, and it took him a long time to heal. So he got interested in it and started doing research on viruses and knew that something like this was possible. So he already had the foundation in place, and there are people that he's donated money to that create the antidotes and you know, the vaccinations and that kind of stuff. And so there's all kinds of stuff all around that. So that'll be a topic for another day, Ferris. Let's not get into that today. But I'm doing research, and again, as the left gate, you're asked to do research.
And he's far from the only one who has warned about virus epidemics in the past.
Yeah. He was just an activist.
Yeah.
So anyways, I hope. Oh, Mary just said, Bill opening the gate. Whoa. That's great, Mary. Does anybody else? Wow. Does anybody else have any wisdom they want to share? Anybody else? Then if not, then everybody, this is.
I'm going to unmute everybody.
Yep. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for sharing, Cindy. That's
Thank
beautiful.
Happy Sunday, everyone.
Thank you. I love you all.
Thank you. It was
and-
wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye, Soul family.
Bye.
Bye.
I love
Good
you.
day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See, we don't even want to say goodbye.